I'm Kristen, and this is Kristen is Fully Booked. Today I'm going to be recommending books based off your favorite yoga pose. I thought we'd do something a little more fun today and go with a video that I have been thinking about doing for quite a while now, but I was always hung up on these really obvious pairings like 6 of crows for crow pose or the summer tree for a tree pose, things that just were word matching up. But what I've decided to do instead is take the essence of the yoga pose, that feeling that you get, the challenge involved, whatever that might be that makes that yoga pose your favorite pose, and distill that essence into a book recommendation. We'll start off with a classic yoga pose, one that visually is what you're going to be thinking about when you think of yoga, with downward facing dog. Now at first glance, this pose looks really basic. It looks straightforward and simple. But if you've been in this pose for longer than a minute, you know that there's a lot more going on under the surface of downward facing dog. There's a lot more involved and a lot of things to do to make this pose feel and look the way it should. So I give to you a series that in synopsis looks and sounds like many others with some common tropes, but that delivers so much more. And this is the Swords and Fire series by Melissa Caruso, beginning with the book The Tethered Mage. The Tethered Mage is more than meets the eye. On the surface, it sounds like any other new adult setup where we have 2 girls, one who has a magical power thought to be lost, the other is a bookish girl who just wants to read quietly in her room despite her very powerful mother's wishes. But you are not going to get the standard chosen one, lost magic, obviously becoming friends kind of a book that you are definitely already thinking you're going to get. Our main character, Amalia, is not magical herself. The 2 girls do not get along at first. They have nothing in common, but they also don't immediately become best friends in the way that you think is going to happen. In fact, I think over the course of this trilogy, every relationship, villain, plot sequence is going to go in the way that you don't expect to happen. Over the course of this series, our main character uses intellect and hard work to overcome problems. She goes through a ton of personal growth, really delving into the lack of confidence that she has and stepping into her own strengths in a way that is ultimately so rewarding and satisfying. Now, if your favorite pose is tree pose, you like to focus. You like to settle into this peaceful feeling of stillness, of being at ease and balance with the world. And maybe, no judgment here, you like a little bit of the aesthetic here as well. So I give to you a quiet, still book with a beautiful cover in Dreamer's Pool by Juliette Marillier. This book is the epitome of a quiet, woodsy book. On the eve of her execution after a long and wrongful imprisonment, wise woman Blackthorn accepts a deal with a fae. In exchange for her release, she is now duty-bound to assist anyone who asks for help for the length of 7 years. In the beautiful and woodsy setting of historical Ireland, we follow along as Blackthorn and her companion Grim get sucked into the quiet and peaceful life of a local wise woman and a mystery involved at the local court. This book is not going to give you anything unexpected, but its quiet predictability and atmospheric woodsy setting is so comforting to just settle in and be at peace and stillness in this quiet and charming book. If you enjoy it, there are 2 other books following Blackthorn and Grim in the Blackthorn and Grim series, each with a different problem that Blackthorn and Grim have to overcome. Now for Pigeon pose. If this is your favorite pose, you know how good it feels to sink into a deep pose or book and just breathe there. It is a deep stretch and one that I always describe as having those hurt so good kind of a feeling. Well, so does the book that I'm going to recommend, and that's A Song for Arbonne by Guy Gavriel Kay. For my pigeon pose lovers, I am recommending a book that you can just sink in and stay a while with. A bittersweet historical fantasy that is probably going to make you cry or just hurt in a really, really good, cathartic kind of a way. Because this is a world where we confront things as they are and not in the idealized version of what we wish it could be. Following several characters in a conflict between 2 countries, Kay takes you on a journey through love, of country, of culture, of stepping up into responsibility for the greater good and for the preservation of everything that you know and love about your country, your culture, and where you are from. Now, if Savasana is your favorite part of each yoga class, then by no means are you alone in that fact. It's here that you get to truly relax. There's no stress or pressure or expectation for this pose to look or feel a certain way. And if this is your favorite yoga pose, then you just want to enjoy the moment, a little escape or a break from the outside world. For you, I'm going to recommend this little slice of escapism in the form of This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Matar and Max Gladstone. No plot, no worries. This sci-fi spec-lit sapphic love story is composed of the most beautiful letters between our two main characters, Red and Blue. Written between two agents on opposing sides of a futuristic and time-traveling war, which, no worries, is not the point of the story, so don't feel overwhelmed by that setup, these taunting letters develop into something more and are the perfect escape from your day-to-day. Pick it up for a moment at a time or read this novella straight through to have your Shavasana experience in a book. If Half Moon is your favorite pose, then you like things a little bit different. A little more off the well-worn, beaten path, something a little bit unique. A pose that combines a lot of different small challenges combined into an unexpected feeling of both strength and serenity. Challenging perhaps, but the payoff is well worth the effort involved. Piranesi by Susanna Clarke is a little bit different. The lyrical writing and serene setting of the house give you this feeling of calm delight. And then something shifts, and you, more so even than our main character, begin to start questioning the reality at play. Our main character, Piranesi, is one of two people living in this endless house full of oceans and birds and sculptures. Piranesi's whole existence is within this house. It is his whole world. Written in the form of diary entries by Piranesi, he introduces us to the world of the house, its beauty, its calm, its serenity. And then the question of what is happening here begins to really sink into the reader, and you begin to get a whole new experience in the second half of the book. The path that this book takes you on is not what you're going to be expecting when you begin this book. But as more and more is revealed to the reader, you are going to be sucked right in along with Piranesi for what is definitely a payoff that is going to stick with you well after you finish this book. For the last pose, we're going to go with Crow. If this is your favorite pose, then you, my friend, like to feel like the strong, powerful, confident, badass that you know you are. And so I'm going to recommend a book where you get to relive that badass feeling through this tough-as-nails, powerful main character with House of Earth and Blood, the first book in the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. Now, my OG thought for this was obviously Celaena Sardothien. In fact, I have put off filming this video because I could not think of another book with a main character who was the epitome of that crow pose feeling, as Celaena Sardothien so obviously is. And then I reread House of Earth and Blood, and yes, Bryce Quinlan is just as badass as Celaena in a very different way, but in a way that it feels very familiar to her obvious predecessor. Set in a very technologically advanced urban setting where fae magic meets with modern technology, our half-fae main character gets it done. Whether or not Bryce is out partying on the dance floor, dealing with alpha holes who have some sense of ownership over her body, battling actual demons, or her own traumatic past, Bryce takes it all like a champ. On the surface, Bryce looks and comes across as a bit of a party girl. But deep down, and when it counts, Bryce knows how to take care of herself and others in a variety of badass ways. And just like when you finish in Crow, you are going to close this book feeling empowered and strong, just like our amazing main character, Bryce Quinlan. Okay, those are all of the yoga pose book recommendations I'm going to do for today. I'm definitely up for doing this video or another video like this again in the future. If there are more poses you want me to try to recreate in book format, is there a different book that you would associate with any of the poses I talked about today? Let me know down below. I can't wait to hear what you guys think of this new video. We'll go with the obvious yoga emoji today if you just want to let me know that you're here, that you made it this far in the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. I am just past 400 subscribers, and at 500 I'm going to do a Q&A or an Ask Me Anything, so start putting questions for me that you have down in the comments so I can collect them for that video in the future. I will see you guys next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
So much to the poltergeist, trying to hold on to love, but it's frosting nice time.